Page 14, tomorrow. The melody is going to be in both hands, like on the other pieces we've had so far in this book. A little bit of both in both hands, right? I'm going to start with the right hand. In the right hand, when you start this piece, your third finger's on the G's that puts you in this position. It's an E position, okay? In the last measure of the first line, you have a fifth finger on the A, so you got to squish your hand down a little bit and put the fifth finger there. It puts you down into the D position temporarily, because on the next measure you got to go back with your third finger on G again. Second line, second measure, right hand. Put in the G. Then you have the A and the B. And then the next measure is at C, and that's way down there. You got to reach. You got to really stretch out for that. Just so you're aware of it. Now, once you play the G, you can clap your hand again. You don't have to hold the hand open like that. Page 14, third line. First measure there. You see the eighth notes? You're here. It's starting a new phrase. Doesn't tell you it's a phrase, but it is. The words tell you it's a phrase. It's a new sentence. If it's a new sentence, pretty much it's a new phrase, right? Okay. They have it this way, with the thumb playing the 3 Ds. I would recommend you do a 1-2-1, just so you're not playing the same finger. You can play the 1-1-1 if you want, but I prefer a 1-2-1. And then keep in mind the second finger goes on the G. Okay, just so you're aware of it. Then on page 14, the last line, first measure, right hand. You're here. Then you have those 3 Fs. Again, same thing. They go 1-1-1. And they're saying to put the 2 on the B flat. I suggest that you do a 1-2-1 on the Fs. Go ahead and use your third finger on the B flat. I don't know why they want you to put your second finger on B flat there. You don't need it. You're fine. Go over to page 15, third line down, third measure. We're still talking about the right hand here. Keep in mind the fifth finger is going to be on that D, which is not hard. Well, see, before, the measure before, you have the E. It's on it. The fifth finger's on the E. And now the fifth finger is going to be on the D. Now for the left hand, go back over to page 14 at the top. I want to remind you to hold these notes down their exact value. Now once you get it and you know the piece, then you can fudge the values a little bit and experiment and improvise and have fun with it. This is not classical music, so have fun. But until you know the piece, don't be changing anything. Because if you're going to change stuff, know you changed it. That's important. So in the next to the last measure, that first line, in the left hand, you have a half note C. You hold that down until you play the, right when you play the G in the right hand, you lift it up. Right? Because the G is played on the third beat, and that's when you lift up the half note. And measure 5, first measure, second line. Just briefly, the melody starts in the left hand, but immediately goes to the right hand, okay? So that the melody is here, right? Now, ideally with melody, that would be a quarter note. The B would be a quarter note, because melody-wise, that's all it is. But I guess they want the harmony to sound out, because it's a half note, so it's got to be 2 counts. On measure 11, on page 14, third line, second measure, left hand. Start out with the fourth finger on the G, and then 2 and 1 on the B flat and the D. Next measure, come down to the F, all the way down to the E flat for the last measure. Now, once you get there and play that, you can collapse the hand. You don't leave the hand out unless you're going to need those other notes again, and you don't. So you can collapse the hand so you're ready for measure 14. There. Go over to page 15, third line down, third measure, left hand. You start with an E. Second finger on the C. Because of what's coming next, you need the D. See? If you didn't have the D coming next, you could put the thumb on the C. But on measure 32, so fourth line down, first measure, left hand, you're playing the two notes together, then the F sharp, and they're saying fifth finger on the G. You can slide it off. It's okay. That's what you want to do, you go right ahead. Another way of doing it would be after the F sharp, use the fourth finger on that, and then 2-1 for the chords. That works too. Whichever is, you can try both ways. Since it's repeated, you can do it one way one time and the other way the other time, just to see what it is. Measure 38, left hand, that chord, it's an F sharp, C, D. Happens to be a 5-7 chord, big deal. Just try and get them all down at the same time. I still struggle with that. One little rhythm tricky I want to point out briefly here. Take a look on page 15, second line, second measure. Or measure 24, whichever you want to go. Actually, we better start with measure 23. So we're going to start with the first measure of that second line. We have the thumb in the left hand, and then the right hand. The rhythm. In that second measure, you have a half note in the left hand, quarter note that's tied over for the right hand, so the right hand plays on the second beat while the left hand's still holding it down. And then on the third beat, the right hand holds it down because it's 2 counts, a half note, but the left hand lifts up. So you get a half rest, a 2-count rest. So right in there is weird. So both of those measures is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So right in there, watch that. A little tricky. Now again, when you go on page 15 from the first ending and you repeat back up a couple of lines above that, watch out for the left hand, because you're here in this position. But when you repeat, you want the fourth finger on that G. So not the fifth finger, because the fifth finger's there and it wants to play it. Nah, fourth finger. Stretch out a little bit and get the fourth finger on it. Because you want it there so you can play the F sharp on the next measure. Then you have pedal for the last 2 measures. Hopefully you know how to do the pedal. I've explained it in a bunch of videos so far. It's in 4/4 time, so I will give you 3 counts because there's a pickup beat for the 4th count. Remember all the first and second endings and repeat signs and all that? We're going to take them all, so be aware of that. So the left hand starts here, the right hand is here. Alright, we're ready. 1, ready, go. Repeat. Two, three, four. 1, 2, 3, 4.